the sacrifice and revelation. The blaring of alarms and distant shouts echoed through the stone corridors, chasing after the small group of rebels as they huddled in the shadowed alcove next to the bay doors. Sage, her heart pounding with a chaotic rhythm that matched the blood thundering through her veins, crouched low beside her sons. But this time, it wasn't just adrenaline that made her pulse race. It was hunger. A hunger that gnawed at her from the inside, curling through her veins like a serpent, tightening its coils. The ache transcended a simple pain. It was a dark, insidious craving, promising power and satisfaction if she would only give in. The scent of blood filled her senses. She could hear it, the steady thrum of heartbeats around her. Tommy, Danny, their comrades. Each pulse resonated, a siren song luring her closer to the edge. Control it. Sage clenched her jaw, her nails biting into her palms as she fought the overwhelming urge to feed.
Move,
hissed one of the rebels, his voice barely above a whisper, but the urgency was palpable.
We have to move now.
Sage's head snapped up, her emerald eyes flashing unnervingly in the dim light. She gave a curt nod, her face a mask of composure, though the storm inside her raged unchecked. She could feel her body changing, her instincts screaming to embrace what she had become. They crept toward the exit, each step a battle to maintain control. Sage's foot caught on a loose stone, sending her stumbling. Her hand shot out to brace against the ancient wall, but the moment her palm brushed against the sunlight spilling through a narrow crack, a searing pain lanced through her. Sizzle. Her flesh blistered and the acrid scent of burning skin wafted through the air. Sage recoiled, her breath catching in her throat as she cradled her wounded hand, crimson streaking her pale fingers.
Are you okay?
Tommy's voice was barely above a whisper, concern lacing every word.
I'm fine,
Sage lied, her voice steady despite the agony that pulsed through her palm. But it wasn't the pain that rattled her. What rocked her was the realization that she couldn't go with them. I can't. Her thoughts churned as rapidly as her heart now did. Her sons, Tommy and Danny, fierce and brave leaders of the rebellion, would be endangered by her very existence. Now a bloodthirsty creature, she was an abomination to the cause she had birthed and nurtured. A liability that could undermine everything they had fought for, bled for, died for. The antechamber they traversed was a space caught between eras, the Gothic arches above them framing the encroaching light of a new day, a day she could no longer greet without fear. Shadows clung to the corners like spirits of the past, whispering of the time before the world had plunged into this endless nightmare. A resolve hardened in Sage's chest, heavier than the stone cathedral that surrounded her. She wouldn't let her affliction become the rebellion's downfall. Her gaze swept over her sons and soldiers, each carrying the weight of hope for humanity's future. A future that was no longer hers. A singular, clear purpose took root in her mind, sinking its tentacles deep. Protect them. Protect the cause, even if it meant embracing the coldest hell possible. She could feel the pull of the coming daylight, an ominous reminder of the line she now walked between two worlds.
Tommy, Danny.
Her voice was barely above a whisper, but it carried the weight of finality. As they approached the threshold where sunlight bled through the ancient stone, Sage turned to face her sons, her eyes shimmering with unshed tears, betrayed the war raging inside her.
I love you.
Her voice cracked, the emotion straining against her resolve.
You need to know that you can win this war, but now you have to run, live, and fight another day.
No.
Danny growled, his jaw clenched, eyes wild with defiance.
No fucking way, Mom. We didn't come all this way just to leave you here.
Baby,
She told her youngest gently, touching his face softly.
I'm not staying here. I can't go with you, but I can buy you some time and some cover.
Tommy's face was a mask of stone, his green eyes distant, already calculating the odds of survival. But Sage saw through the facade. He was breaking.
Tommy,
She turned to him, her hand brushing softly against his cheek.
you have to let this out, baby. You can't keep it bottled up inside forever.
Tommy's lips parted, but no words came. The weight of the moment suffocated the air between them. She tenderly kissed him on the cheek.
Now,
Sage ordered softly, her voice tinged with a desperate urgency.
you need to go. All of you. That's an order.
They hesitated, just for a moment, but it was a moment too long.
Run!
Sage's voice snapped like a whip, her tone commanding the obedience of soldiers hardened by war. Their responses were choked, faces etched with confusion and pain, unable to comprehend the finality of their mother's tone. But there was no time for lingering goodbyes or explanations. The cost of delay was too high. Reluctantly, they turned and dashed into the coming light, sprinting toward their vehicles, parked in the ruins beyond.
Go.
She murmured under her breath, her gaze locked on her sons as they disappeared into the rising dawn.
Triumph.
With a mother's fierce determination, Sage spun on her heel, turning her back to the fleeting safety her sons ran toward, and dashed west to the cathedral's gaping entrance, keeping to the narrowing shadows. The light of the morning sun spilled through the ruined archways of the cathedral, an unforgiving executioner awaiting her approach. She stepped into the courtyard, the warmth of the sun brushing her skin like a lover's caress, as night sentinels in skin-covering armor met her and surrounded her. While the sentinels were protected, her once impervious skin was now vulnerable and exposed. And then it began. The pain was immediate and absolute. The sun's merciless rays seared into Sage's vampiric flesh, each photon a blazing lance that pierced her transformed skin. Blisters erupted across her skin, swelling and bursting with sickening pops that echoed in her ears. Her flesh split open, raw and bleeding, as the sun's unrelenting touch peeled away layer after layer. The scent of burning flesh filled her nostrils, thick and suffocating. She screamed, but not in fear, in defiance. Her shrieks echoed off the cathedral's walls, a concert of agony that sent the night sentinels flinching away in horror. They had never witnessed such a sight. The sun, humanity's greatest weapon, was ravaging one of their own. And yet, Sage stood, not seeking the shadows, nor attempting to flee. She willingly stood ignited in a pyre of self-sacrifice. The night sentinels, while still surrounding her, backed to a safe distance, forgetting the retreating rebels as they gazed in astonishment at how the sun's rays punished new vampire flesh. Her dark auburn hair, once a vibrant cascade of waves, shriveled and crisped against the onslaught of sunlight. It curled up in tendrils of smoke that twisted away into the ever-brighter morning sky. Her piercing green eyes boiled within their sockets, their luminescent beauty dimming under the sun's relentless assault. Yet they remained open, unwaveringly locked onto the distant figures of her sons, as they ran for freedom and their lives, as if drawing strength from the very sight of them, giving her the power to give the last of herself. The elegant lines of her statuesque figure convulsed in an erratic dance of agony as fire consumed her from within and without. Her once lean muscles contracted violently under the heat, pulling taut against bone until it seemed she might shatter from tension alone. And yet through it all, through every excruciating second that stretched into eternity, Sage did not falter. She did not take cover or save herself. She stood firm amidst her flaming agony, bearing the unbearable with an iron will born from love and desperation. And she did not fall, for this was her choice. This was her ultimate act for her children, for humanity's salvation. Her arms spread wide, palms up, a silent prayer to the heavens she had always believed in. Forgive me. Let them live. Let them win. Behind her, Tommy and Danny, her stalwart warriors, hesitated only for a heartbeat before continuing to flee in the opposite direction, the horror of the scene propelling them towards survival. The rebels scattered, each to their own fate, but not before the hacktivists of the darknet, with hands trembling and hearts heavy, captured the moment on video as it streamed through Washington, D.C.'s surveillance system. They could hardly believe they were broadcasting a martyrdom in real time, the self-immolation of a woman who had been their beacon, their leader, in the darkest hours of their existence. And then Pilatus emerged. He stepped from the cathedral's shadow as if he belonged in the sun, tall, powerful, and untouchable. Pilatus's black hair gleamed under the light that should have destroyed him, but the sun bent to his will. He was sacrosanct. Without haste, Pilatus approached Sage's burning body with a predator's grace, his expression one of reverence, almost affection. His robe slipped from his shoulders, bearing himself naked to the sun's rays, and he covered her with them, smothering the flames that consumed her with an effortless grace that belied the gravity of his actions. With a tenderness they didn't know that his kind could express, the hacktivists watched as he cradled Sage's charred body against him.
Not yet,
he murmured softly, his voice barely audible, yet it echoed like thunder. His fangs pierced his wrist. Pilatus pressed the bleeding wound to Sage's blackened lips, forcing his ancient blood into her, burned and broken body. The transformation was instantaneous. Her charred flesh knitted itself back together, raw and flawless. Her eyes, boiled away in agony, regrew, their luminous green now tainted with something darker. Her hair, once gone, cascaded back down her shoulders in silky auburn waves. The watching rebel hacktivists of the darknet could only stare in abject horror, helpless, as Sage's destroyed flesh knitted itself whole under the potent influence of Pilatus's blood, despite the sun's rays shining down upon them. The transformation was nothing short of miraculous or monstrous, depending on the eyes that bore witness. With a possessive grip on Sage that spoke volumes of his intent, Pilatus turned to the CCTV camera. His lips stained with his own blood, his fangs gleaming dangerously. He smiled. He beamed with pride, as if he were a stage actor taking his accolades after a successful encore performance. To the world, it was a promise of the horror yet to come. Without a word, he scooped Sage's unconscious but healed body into his arms and disappeared into the shadows of the cathedral, leaving the world shattered. The revelation sent a wave of dread through the hacktivist ranks, leaving them to question the nature of the enemy they thought they knew. The implications were terrifying. Pilatus was more than a simple vampire tyrant to overthrow. He was a deity to be feared, a force that bent the very rules they believed immutable. And Sage, their leader, their heart, their savior, was now inextricably bound to him. Tommy and Danny, along with the remnants of their group, huddled in the shadows of a derelict warehouse on the edge of the city that served as their makeshift hideout and a hiding place for their vehicles.
What the fuck?
Danny asked in surprise as his cell phone buzzed. He looked at the screen, then at his brother.
It's from Fanghater.
Danny clicked on the video link that the hacker had sent to him. Surrounded by their team, Tommy and Danny crouched in the dilapidated warehouse, their bodies hunched over the cracked screen of Danny's phone. The grainy footage replayed on a loop, capturing their mother's burning body, her agonizing sacrifice, and then her unholy resurrection through Pilatus's blood. They didn't breathe, couldn't. Their hearts shattered as the world narrowed to the image of their mother, engulfed in fire, arms outstretched in some silent plea to the heavens as her skin blackened and peeled away in sheets. The sunlight devoured her. Smoke rose like incense from her flesh, and still she stood, trembling, defiant, burning alive. And then he stepped into the light, Pilatus, a god in a silken robe. He walked through the sunlight as if it were his birthright, tall, sculpted, and untouched by the inferno that had nearly claimed her. He stripped the dark robes from his body and cast them over Sage's collapsing frame. The flames hissed as they were choked beneath the weight of his garment, a smothered scream of fire. The brothers stared, paralyzed. Pilatus dropped to one knee beside her. They saw him bare his fangs, not in malice, but in something far more obscene. Reverence, lust, obsession. He bit into his own wrist, and blood welled up, thick and bright as rubies. He pressed it to Sage's lips like a communion and forced her to drink. Tommy flinched. Danny swore under his breath. Time stretched, warped, buckled. They watched in frozen disbelief as the wounds along their mother's body, gaping burns, ruptured blisters, scorched muscle, closed. Her skin reknit, cell by cell. Hair sprouted anew from her skull in shining auburn waves. The corpse they had mourned seconds before twisted back into the woman they had known, but changed, tainted, resurrected by the monster they were sworn to kill. Screams of rage ripped from Danny's throat to echo throughout the derelict warehouse.
I am going to fucking kill that bastard bloodsucker.
He continued to watch as the video looped once more, and his hands trembled as they clenched the device tight in fury.
Shut it off,
Tommy ordered, his voice devoid of emotion. But the tremor in his hands betrayed the storm raging beneath. But Danny couldn't move. His eyes were locked on the moment Pilatus smiled at the camera, as if he knew they were watching.
He took her.
Danny murmured, his voice hollow.
He fucking took her.
Tommy's jaw clenched, his knuckles whitening as his fists curled at his sides. But his face was stone.
I am going to kill him,
Danny said, sprinting for the exit. Tommy ran after him and stopped him, gripping his shoulders hard before demanding,
Stop. Mom wouldn't want that.
Danny jerked away to look at his brother in outrage, yelling.
Like hell she wouldn't.
Tommy replied emotionlessly.
No, she sacrificed herself to make sure that we would live. If you go back now, you're dead.
Then he turned away and walked to the vehicles, saying over his shoulder,
Besides, if anything, she would want us to kill her first.
Danny's head snapped up, his eyes wide with fury and disbelief.
What the fuck did you just say?
Danny's chest heaved, his eyes filled with rage, but deep down, he knew.
We'll get her back,
He said to his brother, his voice a fragile promise to himself. Tommy's gaze was distant, cold.
No.
He said, his tone devoid of hope.
We'll end her suffering.
The words hung heavy between them. When the time came, one of them would have to kill her, and both of them knew it. As Tommy got into the truck, Danny looked back in the cathedral's direction. Grief reflected upon his youthful face as he thought,
He's right. Mom would want us to kill her first.
This story is still unfolding, so subscribe and follow the pulse of the night. New chapters rise soon, and those who are bound to this channel will hear them the moment they awaken.